Hello today. What do you think about the emotion sulking? What does sulking even mean to you? I'm going to talk about sulking today because I learned a really profound lesson doing a YouVersion devotional by a gentleman named Justin McRoberts. He told the story about when he and his son were building a Lego thing and they lost two of the Legos, and so they couldn't complete what they were doing. And they searched everywhere, crawling around on the floor, everything, searching in places where, things can't even go. I've done that before. When you're really looking for something, you look hard, but they couldn't find it. And when they finally discovered that we just are without these two Legos, his son just went, we're never going to finish it. No, we'll never do it. And then he marched off and went and sat on the windowsill. And I love how Justin McRoberts put it. I couldn't quote him exactly, but he talked about in the most poetic way to do sulking, his son looked out the window as he sulked. That's why I'm by the window here, so I can look out the window. And for those on video, you can get the visual of a good sulk. You stare out the window. And then he talked about coming back and what happened after that. But I wanted to talk about sulking because how I grew up, sulking was not an option. Sulking was bad, it was disallowed, and I Googled it to say what is the actual definition of sulking. And some are, definitions that are disappointment and, sad and things like that. But another definition of it was a bad mood. It was being bad-tempered. So it had the word bad in front of it, which is how I grew up, that sulking was bad. So you could never sulk. But in this devotional with Justin and his son, he didn't rebuke his son for going off and sulking. In fact, this just actually blew me away because I had never experienced such validation of that emotion before. And I talk about emotions a lot, and I talk about validating them, but there are some that they want to present themselves in such a way as if, I know that this particular one, not this one, not this one. And they kind of slip under the radar, and we get caught unawares, and then we get hurt and harmed inside because we don't validate what's going on. But what Justin did with his son was so profound. He went and sat on the windowsill next to his son and took a moment to sulk with him. Wow. I just could not imagine that have happening to me as I was growing up. That would have never happened. But then after he sat there for a while, he started fiddling with some other Legos that they had that were not a part of that. And his son got, what are you doing? And he told him, I'm looking for some other Legos. And what started as sulking, they turned into creating a whole new thing. They used some of the other Legos, and it didn't look just like the Lego thing in the picture, but they created something new because they took what was trying to take all their joy away forever, but emotions are not forever, but they feel like it sometimes. And they created something new which brought them joy. And the thing about that is how he explained it afterwards. He was using words that even I use myself, but sometimes we need to be reminded, like I spoke about the other day, about we need reminders. We need to be reminded of what we already know. All of us do. And so he proceeded to talk about how you need to make room for these negative feeling emotions, because sulking doesn't feel bad. That's why I called it negative. It's not bad, but we feel in a bad way, and that can make us feel bad, which can lead to shame, and we need to not do that. We need to make room for that emotion that is valid at that time and feel it. And one of the things he said was, he said about himself that when he has just gone through, pushed that emotion down and just pushed through, that emotion has come back, because emotions demand validation. If we don't pause to validate them, they will cycle. They will cycle. So if you're feeling like sulking, you need to take a minute and maybe do it. Maybe just 1 minute is all you need. It doesn't mean ruin your whole day. Maybe you need just 1 minute. And like I had the opportunity the other day when I had a root canal to sulk. I had an opportunity because I'm very into wanting to keep my teeth. It's very important to me, and to have this chance where they could have pulled this tooth out and where I'm going to have this thing done I never had done before, it made me sad. And I needed to own those emotions, and I did. I gave myself that. And then I even have a bruise on the side of my face, if you can see it, those in the video. And it's like I had to just let myself feel what I was feeling so that I could move through it to the other side. And that's the whole thing with owning the truth of sulking or any other emotion that you are dealing with. We need to make room for it and validate it, and then we can get up, dust ourselves off, and move forward into the next joy. We can take a hold of it, learn a lesson from it, turn it into something else, like Justin did with his son with the Legos, turn it into this newfangled thing that he could have never even had before. If we'll take it as a lesson, we can make something even better than before it all happened. And so I wanted to share that with you, because it's so important to validate our emotions. And it's loving yourself to validate your emotions. And I needed to remind myself, like I reminded you the other day, why I come on here and remind you I love you, Danielle Burnock from DanielleBurnock.com, that lady on the internet who loves you. Because it's important. It's important to remind ourselves that we're loved and that our emotions matter, and we need to make space for them no matter how uncomfortable they are, because they will cycle if we don't do that. But we can make something new and turn it into joy if we will take ownership of them and feel them and press through. And so till next time, I love you.